Hi everyone, this is Matthew Toronto. I'm in a little square today because we are looking at our very first video commentary. This is Ode to Minions, so let's get cracking. So, remakes are a tricky thing, aren't they? You have to kind of straddle the line between old and new, and you know what, I'm going to pause right here, right before this piranha plant gets roasted. We'll enjoy his final moments, to kind of describe why I wanted to focus on this song for the first of the BitMusical songs. So for those of you that may remember me from when I did the webcomic Brawl in the Family, I would do songs every now and then, comics that had music that went with them, and sometimes people would complain because the music would play automatically, which is kind of a big like internet faux pas, because like sometimes people would check Brawl in the Family like when they were at class or at work, and all of a sudden you'd hear like seem to want. It's like, you know, people get in trouble for it. So if anyone had that happen to them, I apologize. I've since learned that that's probably not the best way to do things. Anyway, for comics 200, 400, and 600, I did three. Each of them I did an original song for, and the first one was Ode to Minions, which now is pretty old. I did it in 2009, so it was looking a little rough around the edges. I thought that would be a good contender to give a little spit polish to, give a little update to. So I did. So for this, I thought it would very clearly convey the idea of what BitMusical was, which is musical comic song things, except every month or two. And yeah, so that's where it came from. Let's go ahead and play for Piranha Plant. There it goes. And yeah, so I wanted to update some of the visuals, but also change a few things too, such as this zinger. The scene here previously was a Lackey 2, which you can actually see right there in the background, but there was enough Mario stuff. I'm always a fan of doing more representation of just different series. I like it in Smash when there's, you know, new characters from new series rather than doubling up on familiar series. And I want to do that here too. So I made a couple of changes like that I'll get to. And there goes, you know, his wife in this case is from the Mario series, as it turns out. And I got Diddy a hoodie there because I like the way he looks in a hoodie. I think his regular outfit just looks too much like a little dog sweater. I don't know. So, played around with that a little bit. So I kind of went back and forth on what to change and what to keep the same. You know, I got these Zelda things in here. It's cleaned up a little bit. I mostly kept the things the same, except I got to pause right here because we have our little minion. So as it turns out, the word minion has changed quite a bit since 2009. Now the first thing everyone thinks about is, of course, the little yellow pill-shaped characters from the Despicable Me franchise. Interestingly, they are associated with Illumination, who is now associated with Mario, and a singing Bowser, I should add. So it's kind of funny that the minion has appeared with Mario in a movie already. So people know the Minions. I thought I would just make that reference one and get the heck out of there. So that's what I did. Now, for these upcoming funeral scenes, I decided, you know, we'll keep a couple, we'll change a couple. There's not really much of a rhyme or reason to it. I thought it'd be just fun to have a few new things. And of course, we have our requisite Brawl in the Family return here. And I think it's kind of funny that I brought back this take on Kirby and DDD by implying that Kirby is kind of a murderer. So, now would be a good time actually to talk about the whole underlying joke of this video. Admittedly, it wasn't the freshest take on Nintendo's World, even when it came out in 2009. People have been saying, you know, oh, let's think about how many creatures you've killed on the way to save this one person. Nintendo games, more recently especially, they kind of imply that's not really the case. It's not really death for the most part. I mean, yeah, I guess Pikmin die, you know, and maybe some Zelda creatures do. But like in Mario, you know, like you'll have a Paper Mario fight, and there'll be this rowdy bunch of Goombas, and they'll say, we're gonna go get them. And then you beat the Goombas, and they go poof in the battle, and then it cuts back, you know, outside the battle to the cutscene, and they're all kind of dizzy, or they're freaking out. They're going, and they run off. You know, they didn't die. You didn't kill them. They just, you know, you bonked them, you defeated them. So that's probably what's happening in Kirby games as well. And I don't know if this is controversial, but I think, like, this song is probably more of an exaggeration that's kind of in Bowser's mind. That's kind of how I see it, rather than people actually, or I guess not people, creatures or whatever, actually mourning most of these situations, at least the sentient ones. I'm probably looking too deep into it either way, but let's keep it going.
And by now,
Yet another cactuar.
There's our Final Fantasy reference. I decided to replace the imps with the cactuar, move them a little sooner. This is my mom coming up, reprising her role as this Koopa Trooper, which I appreciate. So, yeah, those are the changes to the funeral. Now, last year I watched the movie Totoro, My Neighbor Totoro. I loved it, and just thought it'd be a fun nod here. You can see Etude in the corner there from Tadpole Trouble as well. And some people, on the note of Snorlax, some people have mentioned that Snorlax not really a minion. You know, Pokemon kind of aren't, which is true, but I bet you have slain them for being in your way. There are 2 in red and blue. So, I don't know if you captured both of them. I mean, maybe you did. Maybe you captured both, checked their EVs. Is that what they say? Am I doing it right? I know about Pokemon, people. Don't act like I don't. There's a cat bus. You can see little Rattatas on his thing. Of course, if you have Entei, you are not playing Pokemon Red and Blue, so I guess that point is moot. Oh well. Moving on. Speaking of me not knowing about things, this Bulborb, I knew this about dwarf Bulborbs, but I didn't think about it. I remember in Pikmin 2, they go into the whole dwarf Bulborbs are actually a different species entirely, so there should be Bulborb larvas that are feeding off of the big Bulborb. Bulborb larvas do not have feet, and they also are not red on the back. So, I don't know. My excuse is that, like I said, if this is all in Bowser's mind, maybe he doesn't know about dwarf Bulborbs either. So, it all works out. Middle panel, we finally got some Splatoon representation. Splatoon actually came out after Brawl in the Family ended. This was in 2015 when it released, so it was fun to give a nod to that series that's become pretty major series, actually, for the last few years. Very fun. And you can't see it because my mug is in the way, but there is a potted ghost behind the Re-Dead in that scene from Yoshi's Island. And he was there in the original, too. We have our plumbers doing their own little thing. This Mega Man scene, he shoots his arm. That's actually a Mega Man 5 on the Game Boy reference. Screws in that game. This part right here, I want to pause because a few things to say about this. This line used to be the Ducks Who Died. Well, when it originally released, it was still Ducks Who Shot. I temporarily changed it to Ducks Who Died because I like the internal rhyme with Mets You Fried. But my wife said that it doesn't have the right punch, you know? It doesn't sound punchy enough, doesn't sound accusatory enough. Like Ducks You Shot rather than the passive Ducks Who Died. So I changed it back. I also like how the duck and dog have been buddies since the original, and that was basically confirmed by Smash Brothers for 3DS and Wii U, so pretty cool. Continue. This is a Terminator reference. It used to... I tried to put them on swings, it was just too hard to animate, so it's more subtle now. Oh, we gotta talk about the slime. The slime. So this is really the only line of the song that ended up getting changed. And it wasn't really an intentional thing, like I really want to change this one line. It's that the song started off with more changes. There was an entire cut verse. After all the monologues at the funeral, it would go into a new verse that was kind of half what's existing now and half, you know, a new thing. And I go into detail on that more on one of my updates on the Patreon. But this slime line had always been in, and it was really the only one that stayed changed. And I changed it because the original line was the imps you killed. Yeah, the imps you killed for EXP. And the imps they're not that iconic for Final Fantasy. When you think of minions from Final Fantasy, you think of like the Cactuar, and you think of the bombs and the behemoths. Imps, not so much. So I moved the Final Fantasy stuff earlier, and I put my slime in here because I love Dragon Quest, as you can see behind me. And the slimes are they're one of the most iconic minions in video games. I mean, behind maybe the Goombas and, I don't know, Octoroks, maybe? So I had to put in the slime, and I really like how it turned out just because big Dragon Warrior fan, Dragon Quest fan. I also worked in an Easter egg for this part. It's the victory song from Dragon Quest, which is the boo. And I didn't just put in the sound file. I had to go find it, slow it down, figure out each of the 30 notes or so that's been played, that plays really quickly in succession. And so I played those together. I squished it together. I put it in the key of the song and then put it through the NES sound sample thing that I have. And there you go. So snuck that in there. And that pretty much brings us to the end of the song. For the singing this time around, the first time I pretty much used my just regular singing voice. This time I tried to do more of a character voice because the twist slash punchline that it's Bowser, more people knew going in because of the existence of the original version of the song, of course. But yeah, I did more of a gruff voice. I based it a little bit off of Jack Black, especially, I gotta back up for this. The part where he goes, "Genocide is typically frowned upon," which is, that was fun to do. But there's only one Jack Black, so there's only so far I can take that. Maybe one day, in another universe, he'll think, "Oh, I want to sing Ode to Minions," and give it the full Jack Black treatment. Yeah, a man can dream. But anyway, yeah, I think that's about everything. You can see the BitMusical stage in this clip here too. That's got just a variety of Nintendo references, and I threw a few more like little shout outs to various minions. You got the Speck Nose there, and Polar Bear. There's a thwomp right off screen you can't really see. But yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video commentary for Ode to Minions. It's the only one that's going to be on YouTube. If you'd like more, this is going to be a special Patreon thing. So yeah, just check out my Patreon. And otherwise, if you like the videos, the commentaries are going to be on Patreon, but the regular videos are going to stay here on YouTube for everyone to enjoy as much as they want. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you enjoyed Ode to Minions. And yeah, thanks again for listening, and have a good day.